on to the agenda for the meeting. Apologies. Councillors Tracy Dickinson, Sam Gorse, Emily Sporrell and Gillian Wood. Anyone else?
We've also got apologies from Councillor Murray and Councillor Kenny.
Of course. I was just going on to say that two of our colleagues have taken the chain of office as first citizen of the city or borough, and we wish them every best of luck in those roles, and we have no doubt that they will be ambassadors for the fire service as well, and that we will look forward to meeting with them in their various roles over their mayoral years. So we move on to declarations of interest. If any members have any declarations of interest on the agenda before, please mention it now. We move to the paperwork itself. Minutes of the previous meeting, that's pages 5 to 10. There is an amendment to that slightly.
Yep. Members, if I can just highlight on page 5 in terms of attendance, Councillor Knight has been included twice in the apologies and as being present. She was not at the meeting, so she should only be in the apologies, and then Councillor Page was there missing. So we just to propose to make the recommendation to remove Councillor Knight as being shown as present and to replace with Councillor Page.
Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much. So next is item 4, the annual scrutiny review 24-25, which is on pages 11 to 18.
Yep, thank you, Chair. The purpose of the report is to provide members with an update and overview of the matters the Scrutiny Committee has considered throughout this municipal year. Over the 3 meetings this year, the committee has scrutinised 5 different topics. Whilst the overview is provided on each topic on pages 12 to 14 of the report, in terms of organisational culture, it is worth members noting that it was agreed that continued updates would be brought back before members, in particular in terms of the services progress against the Cultural Action Plan. A comprehensive review was provided to members in terms of the Grenfell recommendations and all the progress that has been made. It's also suggested that as this continues following the phase 2 recommendations being published, that further updates in due course will be brought back to members. The Health and Safety Report is an annual report scrutinised by the Scrutiny Committee, which details the event of the preceding year and the effectiveness of the health and safety culture within the service, which members will note has been positive. The last 2 topics referenced on page 13 of the report focus on the environmental aspects and changes impacting our services and response. The Scrutiny Forward Work Plan for 2023 to 2025 is contained in Appendix A, which is on page 17 of the report. The 2-year plan was ambitious in terms of the amount of topics covered, and there remain 3 outstanding items still to be scrutinised. That is topics of contaminants, pathway to net zero, with in particular reference to fleet management, and enforcement and prosecutions. Following the AGM, a meeting will be arranged with the Scrutiny Committee to devise a new Scrutiny Forward Work Plan and bring it back to members for approval. However, it's recommended that the 3 outstanding topics currently on the 23-25 Scrutiny Forward Work Plan are carried over into the new Scrutiny Forward Work Plan for the next municipal year. Therefore, it's recommended to members to note the continued work of the Scrutiny Committee throughout 24-25 and the matters considered, and approve those items forming part of the Scrutiny Forward Work Plan 23-25 that remain outstanding, as I've just detailed, of contaminants, enforcement and prosecution, and pathway to net zero be carried forward into 2025-26. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, yes.
This on, yeah, thanks, Chair. I think we've had a really good year, really, on scrutiny, and I think it's really been beneficial for members and obviously officers as well, because of having that open discussion about how we're progressing and things, and issues that we've faced in our own areas. One of the things that we did discuss at the last meeting was over the alternative fuels, especially in regards to lithium batteries. And we had a good discussion about that, about how technologies, you know, moving so quickly, and some of the issues that we face as an authority and how firefighters face when they go out and deal with these fires, and what to expect and the impact that it may have on them. And we did suggest that there's further information that we require, isn't it? And hopefully that report will come to the authority, and hopefully that will, with the electrical safety campaign that's being pressing the government for a change in legislation, that hopefully that the authority can support that as part of the Fire and Rescue Service and influence the change in government going forward. So I don't know whether it'll be at the next meeting, which is going to be the AGM, or the meeting after, but I think the sooner we get it, that report, and the sooner that we can make our comments known about that publicly, I think that we can progress then and sort of influence the campaign going forward, because I think it's very important, and I think like time is of the essence really. I think we need to get on board with this as soon as we practically can. Thank you.
Just before perhaps the Chief may want to come in on that, just worth updating members at the Scrutiny Committee. It was acknowledged that obviously this is a topic in terms of NFCC, and if the NFCC take a position and then that's widespread, we would obviously share that back to members.
Yeah, just to add to that, obviously there's a huge amount of work in the sector going on around lithium-ion batteries, and we are, just to assure members, we are linked in with all of the NFCC work packages that are ongoing. I think sporadically over the next 12 months there's going to be a lot more information coming into the service, into the sector and into the service, and us working alongside the NFCC, we will obviously be supporting that. So yeah, and we will bring the report back as well.
Thanks, Chair. At the last scrutiny meeting, and we talked about the batteries and what have you, it was so informal, and it was presented amazing that I was a bit concerned over. It made me feel a bit scared of them, to be truthful. And I went back to our meeting and I was telling our leader, Graham Morgan, about it. And I feel as though that, you know, I feel as though someone should come and tell you about this, sort of me bringing back a message that I'm not really qualified to give that information. And I think it would be more helpful if the officer, I think it was John, comes out and does that talk to the council. And Graham said that'd be fantastic. So as I say, with Jed leaving me, going away and leaving me, I don't know who my new officer is, so I can't get it to him. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, just come in there. I know Jed's left you, and he's very sorry about that, but the new officer coming in is over there, so that we Dave Watson, who's now replaced Jed. But you're right, it was John O'Boyle who spoke to you, who gave you the presentation. And just with lithium ion, as I say, there's a huge amount of work. It is a large risk, and the unregulation that's gone on over the last couple of years around lithium ion batteries and the issues it's having is right across the sector. So absolutely, we'll look to share that information as well.
So would you agree that they come out to the council?
I'll work with Ria, and we'll look to see if we can support it. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be welcomed across all the authorities, wouldn't it? Everybody would like to have some knowledge, information, understanding of the dangers, and also what we do to try and keep people safe as well. But the thing is, as you know, Edna, this is a changing landscape as well. I mean, it's changing all the time. Technology changes, doesn't it? And this changes. But we've had fire deaths in this authority caused by these lithium-ion batteries, and a near miss as well. So, and I know other authorities have as well. This is a live issue, something we've got to do something about. And if we can disseminate that information through our councils and councillors, that will be very, very welcome indeed. Okay, so on this item 4 on the agenda, it's on page 11, there is the recommendation A and B. Is that agreed, colleagues? Thank you very much. And thank you to all the members of the Scrutiny Committee, our chair and members of the committee, for all that they do in terms of picking up that extra level of scrutiny that, on specific issues that we wouldn't otherwise be doing. We may touch on as is at the authority, but we give it that extra level of scrutiny. Thank you. Item 5, which is a contract, scientific support services contract on pages 19 to 22. Chief.
Thanks, Chair. As members are aware, this is to do with our role as lead authority for national resilience, but the purpose of the report itself is to inform members that the current scientific support services contract delivered by Bureau Veritas has the potential to exceed the authority financial threshold of £300,000, and therefore authority approval is required to enable the continued delivery of the National Resilience Detection, Identification and Monitoring training courses. And the recommendation is that members approve the contract amendments for the contract value to exceed £300,000 and estimated to be £322,203.95.
To be precise.
To be exact. As members will be aware, MFRA took responsibility for the supply of national resilience arrangements under the lead authority agreement back in 2017. And one of the responsibilities under the agreement is the coordination and supply of all training. For that, we occasionally use external training companies, with all costs being met by the Home Office or now MHCLG funding. In this case, the detection, identification and monitoring capability, which provides response to incidents involving unknown chemicals and allows us to identify whether they are hazardous or not, will exceed the £300,000 threshold. The reason for this is that we have had to lay on additional courses for other fire and rescue services to allow them to maintain their response. And this is often down to new people joining their respective fire and rescue service teams, normally down to retirement or internal promotions. If we can just go to paragraph 15 and the finances, the current spend for 7th of August 23 to 31st of May 25 on the delivery of the services contract with Bureau Veritas is £284,000. The forecasted cost will be an additional £37,499, which will take it to £322,203. And as I say, all this funding will be met through the current arrangements with MHCLG, so there's no additional cost to MFRA whatsoever. It's all externally funded. Happy to take any questions, yeah.
But as we always say, whilst these are national contracts, they're giving, as we are the authority that is that service level a contract authority, we are giving this level of scrutiny that may not otherwise be happening in what used to be the Home Office, now local government department, which I think they're very grateful for. Actually, when I've spoken to them, they say this is a novelty that they really like. So there it is. It's the recommendation is there on page 19. Are there any questions particularly? But otherwise, could we agree this contract? Agreed. Thank you. So we'll move on to 6, procurement of radio pack sets, pages 23 to 26. Chief. Dep in this case? Oh, earning your money today.
All changed.
All change. Hi everyone. The purpose of this report is to inform members that the PACSET radios currently utilised within Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service are due to be replaced as they're at their end of useful life, and advise on the associated recommendation below, which is that we approve the award of the contract to Radiocom Systems Limited for Motorola radio pack sets to the total value of £319,834, no pence. A pack set radio, for those of you who don't know, are the small, almost walkie-talkie devices that allow our firefighters to talk across the incident ground. So really important. And what's not in this report is actually, at the moment, we have not enough pack sets on each appliance for each firefighter, and one of the recommendations that's come out of Grenfell Phase 2, I think recommendation 8, is that every firefighter on an instant ground should have access and be able to communicate. So part of this, which isn't in the report actually, but I just wanted you to be aware of that this actually improves our capability for every firefighter in Merseyside then to have access to radio comms and be in contact with each other, which then satisfies one of the Grenfell Phase 2 recommendations. In terms of the reason why it's very similar to the last report, the reason that it is over 300,000, why it's come today, is because we are proposing to also procure radio pack sets for national resilience alongside the Merseyside procurement. And therefore the contract's going to exceed the £300,000 limit, which is why it's with you today. In terms of how we chose the pack sets, we had a trial of pack sets and we involved our staff with that. And the new Motorola pack set radios were by far the pack set that outperformed the others. So just to assure you that we've done a thorough testing and trial as part of this process. If I can take you to the financial implications at 11 and 12, the cost for Merseyside in terms of to the authority for our equipment is 236,166, and the additional estimated cost for the contract for national resilience is an additional 83,668. So in terms of that's what's pushed us over the 300,000 limit. So just to go back to the recommendation, the report is recommending that members approve the award of the contract to Radiocom Systems for the Motorola pack sets. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so thank you. I'd asked a question about Motorola because I know in the National Communications Project, Motorola were severely criticised by the National Audit Office and also by the Select Committee, the House of Commons that dealt with this, because of, there's no other way of putting it, but excessive charging and profiteering. Are we satisfied that we've, that there's no excessive charging in this particular? I mean, how can we know? We've let the contract, it's come back in at that price, but in the context of what happened with the National Audit Office, have we put an extra level of check across that?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, just to reassure members, we've done a full review, yeah, and we have checked all those aspects, Chair. Part of the charging issues, I think, were to do with Airwave project and other projects that Motorola were involved in, where you're actually buying, I don't know the correct word, sort of bandwidth or airspace or whatever that may be. With the radios we're talking about here, these are just fireground where they're talking person to person, so there's no ongoing charges with it. It's just a one-off purchase for the actual
capital, yeah,
radios themselves. That's all. There's no rental moving forward. So we've done all our due diligence on it and we're fully satisfied. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, again, some of these are for us, but some of them are for National Resilience staff, some of whom work out of here, from us, with us, sort of thing. We manage those. It's a proper contract that's been, specified, tested, trialled, let, priced. It's before members here now. The recommendation is set out on page 23, and it's recommended that we award this contract. Agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Well, that's the close of the meeting. This is the last authority meeting of this year. Our next meeting will be the annual general meeting on the 12th of June, 25. And to those members who've left the authority, we'll have more of a sort of a wash up on things at the AGM. But thank you to all of those. They may not be here today. But congratulations to those who are staying on the authority for another year. And there's one or two here, Ed, you think you may not be continuing, who we thank for, working with us, working with the most important thing for us being here is to support our fantastic staff and in the important role of keeping Merseyside safe, which they do very effectively. Thank you, members, and thank you for your help and support personally from me as sitting in the chair of the authority. We've had actually a tumultuous year. Over the last summer, it tested many of our firefighters. We've changed our leadership, and our former chief has gone to become, as I said, the chief of chiefs. We working very closely, and we, a big year ahead and a lot to do. Thank you, colleagues. Meeting's closed.